Welcome back to Whiskey Wonder Woman. This video is going to be on Bowman Bourbon. I don't know if I should separate the videos into three or do all three straight in one, but we'll figure it out as we go. And I have post-its on it and I'll explain it in a second. But first, they were like 20% off at the Virginia ABC, so I grabbed these two. The port finish was $45 and $9 off. That's pretty good actually. And then the small batch was $35 and $7 off. But I have to say that it was a lot cheaper last year, so I think they're just giving us last year's prices on sale. As I said, bourbon got more expensive in the last year. I thought this bourbon boom, oh my God, I thought this bourbon boom was supposed to end and it hasn't. So that's quite annoying. So as I was picking up these two, John J. Bowman is allocated now as of this year. Can you believe that? Actually really funny. A few months ago, maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, the day before it got allocated, they were on the shelf and I had bought like the last two that were on the shelf. And like the day after, it got allocated. I could not believe it. And I can't understand why it's allocated. So when I went to buy these two bottles, the employee at the Virginia ABC store was like, oh, these are two really good bottles. He said, and this is why I have the post-its on, he said for the small batch that Bowman uses the mash bill from, well, I can't, honestly, I can't remember if this is true or not because I forgot, but I put Buffalo Trace with a question mark. But he said for the small batch, they use the Buffalo Trace mash bill for their small batch. And then for their port finish, he said that they use Eagle Rare. No question mark because I know that one is. And then the reason why the John J. Bowman is now allocated is because they use the mash bill for, you guessed it, Blanton's. Honestly, I can't believe if that's true or not because I did a tour at Bowman's like 2 or 3 years ago and I don't remember them mentioning the mash bill from Buffalo Trace at all for each of these bottles unless it's changed with the new master distiller recently. So I don't know how true that is, but it's what he told me. And I asked him, I was like, how do you know? And he said, it's because I work here and that's what I was told. So it seems about right. This used to be like 45, 50 bucks a while back. And now it's like $56, $57 now. Insane. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm going to save this for another video. Because I just realized that I have the old single barrel bottle and I'm thinking that I should do a comparison of the two from the old master distiller and this master distiller. So I think I'm gonna hold this one off. So we'll just do these two real quick. I think it's better that I'm doing a review of just these two because they're both small batches. This one is 90 proof and then this one is 92 proof. So it's not that much of a difference. So I think we'll be okay. This is just a port finish. Let me show you the bottle. This is the small batch straight bourbon whiskey. The cheaper one, let me read it real quick. John Abraham, Joseph, and Isaac Bowman were Virginia militia officers in the American Revolutionary War. In 1779, they led 30 pioneer families to Madison County, Kentucky, and established Bowman Station. Later, the brothers helped establish and settle Fayette County. They were legends admired and respected by fellow settlers for their courage and bravery. This handcrafted bourbon whiskey is a tribute to these 4 heroic Bowman brothers. Produced by a Bowman Smith Distillery, Spotsylvania County, Fredericksburg, Virginia. It says produced by. It doesn't say anything about Kentucky, so But here you go. For Isaac Bowman, 92 proof. This exceptional bourbon was aged with new charred American white oak barrels for many years before finishing in used port barrels. Deep wood tannins, caramel, and spicy notes. Dang it, I just read the notes. Are elegantly combined with flavors of jam-like fruit with a smooth finish from resting in the port barrels. Named for a true American spirit, Captain Isaac Bowman was a soldier and militia officer who fought in the American Revolutionary War. At one time, he was a prisoner of war and historically escaped, embarking a 2-year adventure before returning home to Virginia in 1782. He settled at the Fort Bowman estate, where he became a prosperous farmer and landowner, creating his own chapter in the Bowman family legacy that began distilling in Virginia in the late 1800s. Like the great American spirit that was Captain Isaac Bowman, so too is this bourbon that bears his namesake. So, call me crazy. I don't know if this is taboo or not. But you know how we were talking about like net pours and crap and all that? What if I like aerated the whiskey like how people aerate wine? Like, is there a difference if it needs to air out? I don't know. And because this whiskey isn't that expensive, I think I'm willing. Oh my god, it doesn't even fit. There it goes. I think I'm willing to take the risk to see if it'll work. It's not fucking coming out. Yeah. It's just fucking... What a waste. I'm just leaking it everywhere. All right, let me go rinse this. All right, I'm holding it like really good so it doesn't leak. Don't leak. Okay, I'm never using this method again because it's literally pouring everywhere, but I'm okay taking these risks on this channel because that's what it's for. And the bourbon wasn't expensive, so we're okay. Never doing that again. All right, so we got small batch, port finish. Port finish is much darker because it's port finish. Let's go with the small batch first. They took the small batch and they just finished it off in port barrels. So I guess the only thing that would change the taste is the port barrels. So let's just do the small batch first and then go in for the port finish after. Ooh, it smells so good. Oh, super fruity. Honestly, I know that was a terrible pour with my wine aerator thingy majiggy, but that baby opened up because it is an explosion of flavor in my nose. It's so fragrant. Caramel. It's almost like toffee. I get vanilla. I do get the oak. I get the grain, but it's like sweet. I think I smell like raisins or plums. I think it's raisins. There's like fruitiness like right at the tip. Or like a pitted, yeah, I think it's plum or maybe like a really dark cherry. Smells fantastic. The small batch alone, it feels like it has a wine finish already because it has a lot of fruity notes to it. So interesting to see what the port barrel finish will be like. Okay, so I'm going in for the taste now. Cheers. Wow, that is quite delicious. Yeah, I'm looking on something online, and yeah, I think I'm not wrong that, okay, Buffalo Trace only has like two primary mash bills. Bowman's, like I had learned, well, time out. Abraham Bowman's. Well, these are Bowman Brothers. Single barrel, small batch. Okay, yeah. So I don't think I'm wrong. Take what you will from the Virginia employee. But I specifically remember when I was at the Bowman Distillery when I did the tour that they got their mash bill from Buffalo Trace. Like it's their own mash bill for them. And then it's redistilled, like shipped to Virginia. Then they get to redistill them and do whatever they want, like the port barrel finish. And then they get to bottle them up. They're not using, I don't believe, because there's not three different mash bills from Buffalo Trace, and I'm seeing it right here too. I'm like when I did the tour of Buffalo Trace, they had two primary mash bills, and Buffalo Trace is in one. Eagle Rare is in the same mash bill as Buffalo Trace. So is Stag, so is E.H. Taylor, Benchmark, and then mash bill number 2, you have Elmer T. Lee, Rock Hill Farm, Blanton's. Yeah, so I don't see a mash bill number 3 separating Buffalo Trace from Eagle Rare. Unless it's new and it's changed and like the master distiller has done something new. Yeah, that information, I don't know, might be untrue. Or maybe he just wanted me to buy all 3 bottles so he can make a sale. Either way, the small batch, it tasted really good. And now I have a pour of the Buffalo Trace, and now I'm going to see if it tastes similar. Because why the hell not? First of all, this smells like caramel. My God. This smells, the Buffalo Trace smells completely different. Oh, this is really good. This is really different. Okay, I'm gonna go in for the Buffalo Trace now. This has like more oak and spices to it. I think this has more like sweetness and caramel. Yeah, this one tastes way different than this. And the mash bill's different. I mean, it could be similar. We don't know. They don't tell us exactly the mash bill from Buffalo Trace going to Virginia. But these are 2 different. There it is. Bowman's has its own different mash bill. This is completely different. And even though this was a complete fail, this opened up this baby like quite a bit, because now it legit just tastes like caramel. Like this is really, really, really good. And it smells amazing. And I was not expecting that for the small batch. That is basically, I paid like $23 on sale. That's really good. Let me look up the tasting notes for this. It says this is distilled 3 times. It just says hints of vanilla, spice, and oak. I definitely get the spice, but they are missing that big flavor caramel, like toffee. It's like when it's actually entering my mouth, it's like a thick layer of caramel. I might be talking up this small batch. And there's like fruitiness in it. It almost like finishes a little fruity, almost like wine, even though this wasn't finished in wine barrels. I am now going to go in for the port barrel finish. I mean, this is amazing and delicious as is. I mean, I wonder how much different the port barrel finish is going to be. This is the port barrel finish. Let's give it a swirl. These glasses I got from Home Goods, amazing. The color is much darker. Okay, these notes are much more fruity, and for me it's like berries. It almost smells like a pie. I'm getting like spices. It's giving like French oak. Ooh, like deep berries. It reminds me of like a berry pie. Almost like a cherry. Like a dark cherry. How much was the price difference for this? So this one was $45 normal price, but I got it $9 off. Not bad. Cheers. This was more delicate and lighter than the small batch in some ways, but it had more wine flavor. It's almost like the port barrel kind of smoothed out the flavors of the normal small batch in some ways. It's not as spicy. It's more like toned down and sweeter. The taste was not my favorite part. It's almost like the port barrels kind of took away that caramel that I loved in the small batch. Oh, that was of like dark fruits. The finish is like very drying and like, I wouldn't say, I don't know if the word's bitter. It's like tangy bitter. It honestly, it tastes like, it finishes like wine in almost every way. I will say that the port barrel, I think, took away some of that caramel that I liked from the small batch. Not saying that this is worse. It's not. It's actually really good. I think I prefer the small batch more than the port barrel finish. And this one is more expensive. I think the notes were in the back, right? It said deep wood tannins. Oh, that's what that finish was. It's tannins. It was. It's like oaky too. Deep wood tannins, caramel. I felt like the caramel was more toned and more fruity. And not as spicy. The next word was spicy notes. Oh gosh. Spicy notes are elegantly combined with flavors of jam-like fruit. Yeah, honestly, it does remind me of jam. But not as spicy. Well, I wouldn't even say this was as spicy, but I felt like the port barrel kind of toned down all the spices from like the barrel. It made it much sweeter, much more, I would say, elegant and divine in some ways. I don't think it was spicy. Okay, take it back. I do get the spice towards the end. It's like a little spice note finish, like finishing off. But I still think it's both smooth and drying at the same time. So which one is my favorite? I still think it's this one because it reminds me of like sipping caramel, and the end kind of balances really well with some spiciness and some oak. I really think this is delicious. For the price, I believe this used to be like $25 not too long ago, and they started bumping up the prices. And when I used to go to the distillery, they used to have the single barrels just at the gift shop for you to buy, and I don't even think there was a limit. I don't know if there's still a limit. I don't know. Things have changed. Obviously, I mean, single barrel just got allocated, which I think is ridiculous, but it is what it is. So, of my two favorites, it's going to be the small batch. Originality, caramel, loving it. I don't think I'm just a fan of port finishes. Maybe I have to get used to it, but that's okay. I'm okay spending less money for what I like. So before I end the video, just a reminder that I'm going to be doing another video with the single barrel with the old Bowman single barrel from the old master distiller. But I was thinking to make my channel grow, I was thinking of if I get to like, I actually have no idea how many followers I have. If I get to, I don't know, I'm gonna say like 10,000 followers, I think my special bottle that I'm going to open is going to be this Abraham bottle. Because why not? This is a wheated bourbon bottled in 2016. So that's, oh, it's a limited edition. So with that, I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to follow, like, share, subscribe, and whatever needs to be done to get us to open this Abraham bottle. Good night.